one thing that I found interesting is Americans are, out of all the people in the world, pretty much, I think we rank number one in paying taxes. Most Americans pay their taxes, like in the 90 something percent, and that's just not the case in other countries. Like like other countries have trouble getting their populace to pay their taxes. So it's interesting that you know.
It's a $92 fine for not voting in Australia.
But man, voting, big time voting. Gotta say, I'm disappointed in a lot of people out here. People said they're gonna go and vote.
How'd you want some things to go?
Just go and vote. I know like a handful, at least 20 people that didn't go out and vote. At least 20.
Did you vote, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And a midterm? That's impressive.
Yeah,
I did.
I mean, we all talked about it, and I really didn't want Mark Rubio to win, but you know, what are we gonna do?
But you wanted Ron DeSantis to win?
Yeah, trying to lock him into an answer.
You see that shit, right, bro? I hate that.
I voted to get Greg Abbott the fuck out of Texas, and it did not happen. But I didn't think it was going to happen. Beto's was he's got problems with his message in Texas, I think.
Why does everybody say Beto's name Beto? Is he Hispanic in any way?
He apparently grew up with a bunch of Hispanic people, so they gave him the nickname Beto because he hung out with a crew where they gave him the Spanish nickname, basically.
So he's not culturally appropriating. Wow. The culture accepted him.
That's the story that we've got, and it's like the one white dude in your crew that you call like Wedo or something, right? Like, is he culturally appropriating, or is that an earned nickname that you gave him yourself?
No, there's some people like that. Like we got a friend of the pod, right? Gente, right? He's just a black dude with a Spanish nickname.
Yeah, no, that's
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that grow up like that in the hood. That, depending on the crew you grow up in, you get nicknames. Even it goes the other way too. You know, the one Hispanic dude hanging around with a bunch of black people. That, you know, they get I've been called Papi by plenty, by plenty of other groups of people. So, yeah.
Who's called you Papi? I've never heard of that shit. Think of Papi. Anyways, a lot of red states.
There were 11 million people in Texas that didn't vote, and that has been living in my head for a week at this point.
11 million?
11 million people that didn't vote.
That's wild.
It's a lot, dude.
Maybe people just don't get. I don't know. That's so weird to me. Like I think I used to be that person. Not give a damn. Like I'll just vote for the president shit. Then you realize like, nah, the people who really affect me are the dicks who's running the state. Actually, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, nah. Yeah,
it's even smaller than that, man. You have a kid now, like that. That's the city council, the school board positions. Yeah. All that shit matters so much more than you realize that it does.
Definitely does. And some people take time to actually understand that. I mean, I used to only vote for like president shit, like, you know what I mean? It's just now it's just like, nah, it's deeper than rap. If you really want the city to be good, you got to vote for the council. You got to vote for you got to vote for the, you know, for the mayor, for the Senate, for, you know, all these little things that are, it's you know what's crazy too? It always fucking puzzled me. It's like, if I vote for this person, then you got to vote for their friends. I always thought like you got to just stick with one side, and you don't really have to. A lot, like for the most part, right? Like, let me not say I'm not gonna vote Democrat and Republican and try to. It doesn't work like that, right? But
I know people that do. I know people that have some opinions about like what political philosophy they prefer for specific positions and whatnot. Honestly, my disappointment with the election results is not even in how any of them turned out. I just want more people to vote. I just want people to exercise that right. I actually wish that we would actually pass something to make election days fucking holidays from work, like federal holidays. And I think that the idea of what they do in Australia, where it's like compulsory voting, is interesting.
Explain.
You have to vote in Australia. Like, it is compulsory. I think there's like exceptions you can file. There's medical there's some shit like that, right? Like there's some shit you can do to not be, fined or punished or whatever it is. I think it's some kind of like fine for not voting or something, but you are obligated to vote. They get a super high voter turnout because of that.
Yeah, pretty much every election it's like in the high 80s to low 90s in terms of how many people vote in the election. And in the US, like, we get like 51% of eligible voters go out and vote, So it's like half the country just ain't voting.
Shit, maybe they should. But it's gonna be hard. But what, you're gonna get a fine? You think is that what they do up there in Australia? They get a fine.
I did not look into that aspect of it. I just know that they have a compulsory voting, and I don't know what the punishment is for not voting.
A slight shift of topic. One thing that I found interesting is Americans are, out of all the people in the world, pretty much, I think we rank number one in paying taxes. Most Americans pay their taxes, like in the 90-something%, and that's just not the case in other countries. Like like other countries have trouble getting their populace to pay their taxes. So it's interesting,
It's a $92 fine for not voting in Australia.
I think it's also because it gets automatically taken out of our checks. Maybe it doesn't work like that in other countries.
Yeah, I mean, but when you set up your W-4, you could set it up so it basically takes nothing. But
best,
that could be it.
Like you're doing your taxes right throughout the year when you owe zero or get zero. Like, that's how you know it's perfect. I don't think anybody in the world's got perfect fucking results like that. But
I actually don't mind them taking out a little extra, them giving it back to me at the end of the year. That benefits me.
I mean,
but anyway, sorry. So they get a $92 fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd be okay with compulsory voting. I would just want some extra stuff, like a bigger window for voting, some days off to vote, and things like that. Like I don't know, I'd be pretty bummed out if like some guy who's like working 3 jobs, busting his ass to like, make ends meet, and he just literally does not have the time to vote for whatever reason, and they're just like, bam, we're taking $100 from you. And for some people, that $100 will make or break a family. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, I think I'm mostly okay with compulsory voting.
Yeah, there definitely would need to be some tweaks because, at the same time, there are situations like that, and that would be super shitty to just pile on more on top of someone that's already, struggling.
Yeah, it's just not easy. Definitely not.
Yeah, there's a couple races out there, like the Georgia Senate race is going to a runoff, basically. So initially they had 3 people in the election. 2 people got the most votes, but they didn't get over 50% of the vote. They didn't get the majority of the vote. So it ends up going to a runoff.
What is a runoff?
Basically, they get rid of the 3rd guy and they run again. Just 2 guys now. 2 people.
They do like,
and then whoever gets the most votes at that time wins.
That's fire. Who's I forgot who's
getting people to turn out twice to vote. Is that like harder than getting them to turn out the first time?
It depends, right? I think that some elections you'll see higher, some you'll see lower. It kind of depends on like how critical people feel that particular vote is. I mean, politics are so divided in this country now that everyone feels like every election is critical, and then they just still don't go and vote. So maybe that doesn't matter.
But yeah, it is difficult. I mean, they invest a lot of money on like door knocking campaigns, commercials, a whole bunch of shit to get people to go out there and vote and support, a particular candidate or whatever. But yeah, this election's nuts. It's between one guy who basically has no morals as far as I'm concerned. He's a former NFL player. He's pro-life, but he's asked a number of his girlfriends to get abortions. He's about family, and he's a married man, but he's had other children out of wedlock, and he has a number of children that he doesn't pay child support for, and he doesn't raise his kids. It's a lot of shit like that. I'm like, this guy just doesn't seem like a good character. I feel like we could have picked a different,
Walker.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel
Yeah,
Walker.
Herschel Walker. Yeah. I feel like the Republicans could have picked a better guy than him. You know what I mean? But and then the other guy's the incumbent. He won an election like 2 years ago or something. Raphael Warnock. So yeah, they're going. I think he was in a runoff the last time around too. When he got elected initially, they went to I think a runoff and they had like a second round or whatever.
Huh.
The Frost guy won, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maxwell Frost?
Yeah. It was in my district, so I voted for the dude.
Oh yeah, we were excited about that one. First Zoomer, right? The first Zillennial. What is the term now?
Gen Z.
He's
He's the first Gen Z person in office.
Something about calling a congressman a Zoomer doesn't seem right. Gen Z seems a little like more proper.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me ask you a question: is it me, or is it there were a lot more? There's more red states than there were last time when we did votings. Because
It's
most of the states are red.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky, right? Because like, how do you determine whether a state is red or not? Is it most counties? Is it whether the governor's red or blue? Or
I would say that me personally, I would base it off the governor. If the governor's, Democrat or a Republican, I would just vote that whole state as that because that's who's in charge right now. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think typically the way the color we call a state is what way they tend to vote in presidential elections is like how we color states. So like if a state tends to vote Democrat a lot, we'll call it a blue state. If they vote Republican a lot, we call it a red state. And then some states like Florida is like a red state, but the votes are always so close that we consider it a swing state. Basically, if the voter turnout comes out, you could swing that state in another direction. And yeah, there's a couple states like that. Like Georgia's, I believe, a swing state. Florida, Pennsylvania.
New York.
Although Pennsylvania used to be, a blue state. Now it's, I think, going to be considered a red state. I think I voted Republican two elections in a row. So.
Pennsylvania right now is a blue state. John Fetterman won.
Yep. They voted for Trump though.
I mean, even New York, which is traditionally a blue state, like all of Staten Island went red, and then a lot of places.
That's not surprising. I've been to Staten Island.
Yeah, no, but usually it's blue. So that
but
went
Long
all
Island
red.
is pure red.
Long Island
and then
is
Staten
red.
Island is usually kind of like depending, but like you ain't gonna see places in Brooklyn and Queens or Manhattan. They're voting blue.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cops and retired cops out in Staten Island, from my understanding. I'm not surprised that they vote pretty red.
I always find it, and now I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the best person in like political shit, right? But the parties when they say total seats, that's like a Congress thing, right?
It depends. Is it a big number or is it like?
Well, right now
seats?
it's saying like it's 48 for Republican, 48 for Democrats, and 2 for other parties.
Senate. That's
Senate seats. Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that work? Gain and loss? Because I see it here, and I mean I don't like. Do we vote to see who gets the seats, or is that something internal?
We vote.
We vote for those seats.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Marco Rubio's on the Senate, and Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is the governor.
But you vote for whoever is in your area, basically. We're not voting for like this is who I want to be the senator from Arizona, because that's not our area that we live.
I know.
But yeah, every state gets 2 senators.
And then those two get on the seats. Whoever it is that you okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I think recently it was 50-50 seats, and right now it's at least 50, maybe 51, depending on if the runoff goes.
Well, it's 51 because the vice president is the tiebreaker in the Senate.
Well, sure, but I think that too. But right now, the Democrats got 48 seats, and then there's 2 independents that vote Democrat. So the Democrats already got 50 seats basically, and if they get Warnock in, then they get 51 seats, and then with the vice president, they
get 52.
Could get 52 depending on the circumstances. But usually, if the Senate's divided, you get 50-50 voting, and then the vice president just comes in and he gets to cast a vote only in those situations on the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Damn, that's that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That vice president could change the whole game.
Yep. And yeah, so that's sort of how the Democrats have been able to pass certain things in these last 2 years. Is in the House, it was blue. So they were able to get things through the House of Representatives. And then when it got to the Senate, the votes would usually be 50-50 unless some Republicans abstained from voting. But it'd be 50-50 with, Kamala Harris doing a tiebreaker. And even the Republicans, I'm pretty sure in the last 2 years of Trump, I think it was 50-50 as well.
And Pence was the tiebreaker.
And Pence was doing tiebreaker. So
it was go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna be in for an interesting 2 years because it looks like the Republicans will control the House, Democrats control the Senate and the executive branch. So we're either going to see a lot of gridlock and just not a lot actually happen and make it through both the House and the Senate, and we're going to see a lot of shit not happen. Or maybe this will be a rare time when we'll see some bipartisanship. Maybe this will force some cohesion there. I don't know how hopeful I am for that though.
I'm still waiting for the day we just say fuck all this bullshit and just make one man run the whole fucking show. No voting, straight.
A dictatorship is
you want to go
Dictatorship.
back
I-
to emperors and dictatorships.
Just one guy and everybody has to vote. And if that man fucks up, easily dethroned. Next man up. This politics is too much bullshit, bro. Too much backhand.
Is it just random? We choose one person. It's like you're fucking president for the day.
Nah, I think honestly they should every year. I think there should be a yearly vote for a president. I don't think a president needs to be 4 years running the show. I think there needs to be maybe 2 years or something. I don't. Why 4 years? What's the big 4 years? Why do 4 years? Is there a reason for that?
I don't actually know. I think they. I don't know. They chose 4 years for way back when. George Washington did his 4 years. Won his election, did another 4 years, and then he said, "I'm not running again," and that kind of set the precedent for 2 terms. The precedent for 2 terms. So then
precedent.
The president precedent. Yeah. So I know that, but I don't know how we settled on 4 years. I'd say this 1 year is way too little time to
for sure
to enact change and figure things out and get your bearings and all that. I think at least 3 years is required in order to get in there, figure things out, learn how this stuff is run, put a team together, get do shit. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine just getting in? So your dude gets elected, he chooses you for his cabinet, and you're finally getting up to speed on how things work in this organization. You take over, and it's 9 months in, and you're like, well, shit, I only got 3 months left to actually do anything. Let me start working with the transition team for the next president.
Be like Trump, but just be golfing for the next 4 months. But no, because though over there I'm assuming you voted, right? Okay, you're on mute. Is it easier over there? Because I know you guys are just jam packed, but in New York, people are very outspoken. They be holding fucking parades and stations throughout the city. Is there a constant pressure during these voting times in New York City? People are all in your face saying, "Yo, did you go out and vote or do anything like that?" Because I know down here, there's none of that shit. You just see the little banners on the side of the road, but that's it.
Yes, it's more of yes, people care about voting in the city. It's a very proactive city.
And if you're voting on election day itself, typically even here in Austin, the people will be in lines hassling you, hey, let me give you this card with my candidate's info. This is why I usually tend to vote early.
You'll even see your candidates out in the street saying hello and giving out stickers and in their area that they're gonna be their district.
That's respectable. That makes you want to vote somebody. You out here in the sweat, you sweating out here with us. All right. Passing out little sandwiches and water bottles. I fucks with them.
They ain't sweating out there with you. They're just out there asking you to vote.
Please.
Jumping in and out of an air conditioned car.
The cool thing about New York is that you do have these people like Alexandria Cortez, and you have a lot of these people that are like showing you that it's not just the old man, white man's game. You could, you can be a person of color. You can come from being a bartender, and it inspired a lot of people over here to do politics, and I think that's really cool.
But he was a bartender?
She was a bartender.
Sorry. She was a bartender. That's fucking crazy. And she got into politics. Damn.
Well, she was like a bartender while she was going through school or something like that.
Okay,
she wasn't
I
like just
see.
like a.
Okay, my bad. He paid.
She wasn't somebody who one day to the next they were serving drinks. And you're like, you know what? I'm running for Congress. It's like she graduated, got a good degree, was involved in the politics at the universities. She got basically handpicked. There are organizations that basically say, oh, you would be a good candidate for XYZ reasons, and then they kind of coach you up, and then they media train you, and they do all this stuff. And she kind of went through that whole thing in order to start her campaign.
Wait, so the process is like that? It's kind of like what they did in Parks and Recreation when they like headhunt her to run for office. They headhunt her husband or whatever to run for office.
Yep. It'd be like that. Sometimes you'll show interest and these people are part of these organizations, but yeah, they'll be like, oh, look, you got the right, you got the right education. You don't seem to be a bad person. You're into this, you're the right demographic in the right area and all that kind of stuff. And then they're like, all right, let's media train you and kind of get you ready for the show, And yeah, there's like, there's a lot of organizations, but they'll like endorse candidates and stuff like that. And and that's what happened to her. And they were like the four. I think there were 4 women or 3 women.
Yeah,
what was that?
I think there's 4 of them.
Right. I can't even remember.
They're named something.
Right. I'm sure they have a name.
They got a.
But yeah, they were all like headhunted by the same organization.
I did not realize that. That's interesting.
Okay, they're the 4 LWs.
What do y'all think about the people that say that your vote doesn't matter, that there's better ways to participate in like democracy? Like I'm not going to say that I don't think protesting does anything. I don't think that that's like the full on opinion that I have.
The Squad.
But I think the
Squad.
The Squad.
Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib,
and Ayanna Pressley.
Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, I don't think
the Squad.
I don't think. I think you should vote. I know people when they say, "Oh, you don't need to vote. It doesn't matter. This and that." It only matters like for the smokers, right? Let's just example. Got a lot of smokers voting now for the right to have marijuana legalized, decriminalized, whatever. Oh, I see a whole bunch of them now trying to, now they want to get involved in voting. And it's the same thing for certain things. There's people now voting because they want better education for school, this and that. So some people are like, you know what, let me get out there and vote. Even myself, like I never tell people not to go and vote. I think that's kind of stupid. Like let people make their own decisions, right? Don't try to pressure them into not voting. Same thing for people telling people to vote. Like, don't pressure them. Let them do it on their own because you don't want a careless voter. You know what I mean? You don't want someone to go there, I'll just pick Obama. Fuck it. Like, a lot of people were doing that shit, too.
I find that unique that you don't want anybody, but don't force them either.
No, I'm saying, like give them information and make
he
their
wants
own
people
decision.
to vote.
On
he
their
wants
own.
people to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want...
I disagree.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want people to be forced to do something, right? But... I mean, if you guys had to choose, right, me or Trump as your president, I would assume you guys would pick me.
I would draw a picture of Daffy Duck, and I would just put that in.
What a piece of shit.
Just be an invalid ballot.
Wow, that's crazy. But no, seriously though, like I mean, let them make their decisions. Let them fucking vote. But telling people not to go and vote, fuck out of here. You're bugging the fuck out. Like. That's stupid to me. I think it's important. Everyone who knows anything knows that voting is important. And every fucking voter counts. Like every single one, especially in a close race. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But my mom always said that she always had the saying. She was like you can't complain if you don't vote. And I think that there's some truth to that for sure. Like if you're gonna bitch about like who the president is or who your congressperson is,
vote.
you better at least have fucking voted before you're complaining about that.
I would agree 100%. That's for sure. Like, yeah, you're gonna complain about something, but you ain't doing nothing. Fuck out of here. Yeah, nah, for
So
sure.
it's like you ask someone where you want to go to eat, and they're like, I don't care. And then you go somewhere, and they're like, this food fucking sucks. Like,
Oh, those are the worst.
Should have said something then. We wouldn't be at
Anytime.
Olive Garden right now.
Wow, Olive Garden. Think of the shitting on Olive Garden. Y'all got a secret hate for Olive Garden, bro. That shit's insane. But no, yeah, man. Though, you know what you should have done too? You should have rode your bike around town with flags of your party or whoever you wanted to vote. You know, just promote.
I mean, yeah, definitely. If I ever get inspired to do that, I would do it. I think that's a cool way to help out.
The reverse on that would be.
It'd have to be somebody that I believe in though.
Could you imagine, Mateo, the reverse side of this? He's riding around the city with whoever he votes, eating all the red lights, smacking all the side mirrors. They'd be like, yo, fuck that guy and that motherfucker he's voting for.
Comes down, knocks 3 mirrors off. They look, they're like, nope, not voting for that candidate.
That motherfucker supports a piece of shit.
They're like, I wasn't even going to vote, but now I'm going to vote just to not vote for that.
Yeah, bicycles, bitch.
Yeah, they'd be like, nah, I'm voting all against bikes, bro. Fuck
Vote
that.
one on bicycles.
Oh, no.
Yo, absolutely. I'm voting for whoever the bicycle people.
Oh, here we go. I knew that
Also,
was coming.
yo, I know people like you want to put licenses on our bikes.
Facts.
And I say no, sir. I say you go somewhere with that shit, okay?
We need to.
All right?
Doey doesn't want a presidential debate. He wants them to get on bikes and do like 100-meter like race. That's how he's going to decide.
Park. Whoever
Fuck
can
outta
beat the
here.
other one, that's fire.
You imagine these 60, 70-year-old men on bikes riding around Central Park trying to win?
Tony was hurting. That second leg of Central Park.
Bro, biking is not easy in New York. You gotta
Also
avoid traffic, people, and keep up with dicks like Doe. I don't know the city. This man's gone. Zoom, electric bike gone. I'm like, oh, what a piece of shit.
And then I just be showing back up with the group, and they're like, where the fuck did you go?
Man did a whole lap. Fucking Speedy Gonzalez over there. But